Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here with the mystery of WrestleMania 33. Here we are. I believe we're about 2 months out from WrestleMania 32. The days are just ticking by. I have already brought my suitcase into my office here to start putting t-shirts into my suitcase, and knowing me, I will put too many shirts, knowing that I love, wrestling shirts, knowing that I'm even going to buy some when I am there. But I want to make sure that I have everything for the perfect occasion. WrestleMania 32 in Dallas is honestly shaping up to look like it's going to be one of the best trips that me and my friends have ever gone on. And as of right now, from talking to my friends, I think I'm going to live up WrestleMania 32 like it's going to be my last go round. But just by putting them on Front Street and putting it out there, I don't think that there's going to be a trip to WrestleMania 33. I can honestly tell you that I know one day these trips are going to come to an end, and maybe something happens at WrestleMania 32 that just makes this the best trip ever, and we just don't want to give it up, and we got to do this next year. But for the last few months, a lot of people have been talking about, and maybe even for like the last year, people have been talking about the leader for WrestleMania 33 is Minneapolis, Minnesota, of course, with the new. Is it the U.S. Bank Stadium up there that they're building for the Minnesota Vikings? They've even come out and basically said that they have WrestleMania coming to them. And then almost in the last month, we've heard that Orlando is really throwing their name into the hat, trying to bring another WrestleMania back. Of course, it has been since WrestleMania 24. I can't think of the name of the stadium where they did the last WrestleMania in Orlando, but Dave Meltzer was talking about it during answering some questions from the mailbag. And basically, if Orlando is getting WrestleMania, it will return to the same spot. I will definitely tell you that I've watched. I'm pretty sure I've seen every single WrestleMania there is. But as far as like breathtaking beauty that WWE has built for a WrestleMania set, I think that the Orlando set was possibly the best set of all time. I believe that of all the entrances we've ever seen at WrestleMania, my favorite one is Edge at WrestleMania 24 when he comes out for the main event and he's got all the fireworks going off behind him. I don't think there's ever been anything as perfect as that. He's supposed to be Edge, the rated R superstar, and with those fireworks going off in the background, it just made him look like $1,000,000. I mean, a lot of those guys had great entrances. Floyd Mayweather came out during that show to an awesome ordeal as well. They built that huge tower behind them that makes you think that that's going to be there all the time. But that was actually WWE. I believe on the WrestleMania documentary, I believe they said they put $1,000,000 just into renovating that place alone. Definitely there's pluses to going to Minnesota. I think that the one negative might be weather. I mean, you think about Orlando weather in April over Minnesota winter. It's not really winter. It's almost spring. It's April time. But I think that there's still a chance of snow. Orlando, I bet is going to be nice. When Ravi talked about his WrestleMania trips in his last video that he put on, he talked about how basically it was cold that one day that we toured San Francisco, but all the days that we were in San Jose / Santa Clara, it was all perfect weather, t-shirts and shorts every day, and you had no problem going out at night about anything like that. But I know that Minnesota and Pittsburgh are two completely different places, far apart from each other. But I just remember Mario telling me when he went to the Royal Rumble that was in Philly, the one that no, it was in Pittsburgh, the one that was won by Batista, just how shitty it was all week long, traveling around and having to go through the snow and things like that. And that doesn't sound like fun at all. I'll go play with my kids in the snow. I don't drive in snow. That's just not for me. It's just not what I like. But I don't know. When I think about Orlando, I think about everything other than wrestling. It has its negatives for it too. I have to tell my wife and my kids that I'm going to the home of Disney World, which we're not planning on going this summer. We're planning on going next summer. It's a trip that we're going to be putting together this year to go next year. But the fact that I'd be traveling down there and not seeing Disney World, Universal Studios isn't that big. I'm sure that if we planned a day, to go to Universal Studios. I'm sure that we'd be able to do something like that. But, Disney World is just a huge mother. And, just to go there for one day, I think we'd honestly not get our money's worth, and it wouldn't be worth it. But there's a lot of other theme parks and a lot of other things down there that would be great for wrestling fans to check out. The one plus for Minnesota, I think, would honestly be that they have a nice, beautiful new stadium. I can remember the reports coming out of WrestleMania 24. They have renovated a little bit, but I remember hearing that a lot of the bathrooms were out of service at WrestleMania 24, and they had lines of porta potties, and there was mistakes with the porta potties that weren't working, and the area where the porta potties were was all muddy, and people were complaining that they didn't even really 100% know that if it was mud. I will tell you that I didn't go to WrestleMania 24. I didn't start going to WrestleManias until WrestleMania 26. But I remember reading these reports and hearing them on podcasts clear as day. There's no doubt in my mind that it was Orlando and it was WrestleMania 24, and that's something that would really scare me about going there. No matter how well, how cool it looked, on television, that's definitely a report that would really scare me. I remember being warned by my friend Chase on the WrestleMania 30 trip to make sure that you do not have to go to the bathroom at the Superdome in New Orleans, because they are some of the worst bathrooms in the history of arenas. And there was a time during the show, during the Kane and New Age Outlaws versus the Shield match, where I did have to go, and I ran in and I ran out as fast as I could, and I can confirm, they smelled like funk, and I don't think that smell comes out of there. So, sometimes you just have older stadiums, and that's just the way it's going to be. I'm not 100% sure if they're going to announce where WrestleMania is going to be. I sort of feel as of right now that maybe Minnesota and Orlando are sort of waiting for a phone call, and maybe WWE's not even really going to make the announcement until WrestleMania. And then basically when they put the announcement up on the screen, we'll see you next year in Minnesota, or we'll see you next year in Orlando. I don't even know if those cities are going to know. Like, maybe they're just sort of stringing them along. WWE has, the words got out that they've got upset at cities in the past for sort of leaking the information. If you remember last year, getting ready to announce Santa Clara, the mayor of the city went to the newspaper and they wrote an article about WrestleMania coming, and WWE was very upset. In the contracts that are signed for the rights fees and things like that, is basically WWE wants to be the one who makes the announcement. They don't want anybody else letting this word out. And there was word that Santa Clara was going to lose WrestleMania because of the fact they had gone against this contract, and the mayor had sort of been running his mouth to the people. Definitely, we've seen the same mistakes this year. The Minnesota Vikings, on their YouTube video, put up a video with the president of the Vikings talking about the new stadium, and talking about all the big events that were coming, and he said that they had WrestleMania coming to their town, and they were going to be hosted there in the city. And then today, in the Orlando paper, we have the mayor of Orlando running his mouth, basically saying that WrestleMania is coming there too. So we know that both of these cities have thrown in bids. In the past, we've heard from cities such as Boston, Philadelphia, and I believe there was another East Coast city out there as well. Everybody hears the success stories that basically the cities that have taken a gamble and paid the rights fee to bring WrestleMania there, this brings in millions and millions of dollars to their economy, with hotels and restaurants and everything that is around the stadium, from people who drive cabs, people who own parking lots. Everyone makes money off of WrestleMania one way or another. Bootleg t-shirt vendors. I can honestly tell you that if my friends go, I'll go. And I even have a feeling right here in my chest that even if there is no Ravi, even if there is no Miguel, I think I would want to see Minnesota. Maybe I wouldn't do a whole long trip. Maybe I would just buy the package and just go in on Friday and come out. But even from then, I would have to find reliable people that I would be able to know that I was buying the package with, that would either pay me back or would trust me enough to have me pay them back for the price of the package, which is probably the hardest thing for people to do. You know, there's a lot of people out there that are all talk about next year, I'm going to buy the package, I'm going to buy the package. And when it comes down to it, you're going to have to find somebody in your group that you can trust enough that is going to put all this money on their credit card, and the people are going to pay them back because interest is a bitch, and you end up loaning somebody money, and it ends up costing you money to loan them money. But we'll have to see what goes down with WrestleMania. Minnesota or Orlando? Who are you guys betting on?